Number 6, what will happen to the righteous people when Jesus comes the second time? For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the trump of God and the voice of the archangel, and the dead in Christ shall rise first. What happens when Jesus comes? There's a resurrection. What direction do we go when Jesus comes? Up. Do the feet of Jesus touch the ground when he comes? You know, that's a very important little qualifier that ought to help you discern the true from the false. As soon as somebody in flesh and blood walks up to you in this life and says, I'm Jesus, you ought to know something's wrong. Now, I say that because that happened to me. When I was, well, it's happened to me more than once, but when I was a baby Christian up in the cave, just started reading the Bible. I was up in my cave thinking a lot about spiritual things, and over this crack between the two big rocks and the log that entered my cave yard, if you will, this man came hiking. He had kind of chestnut hair down to the shoulders. He's about 6 feet tall, had a beard, hazel eyes, olive skin. And yeah, I didn't get too many visitors. I invited him to sit down. I always invited everyone in. I called my place the Tockwitz Hotel. That was Tockwitz Canyon, because I was always taking in campers and hikers that were going around up there. He said his name was David Harper. No, Michael David Harper. And he said, that's my human name, but I am really Jesus. I said, pardon? Jesus. Now, when he first told me that, dichotomy of thoughts went through my mind. First, I thought, I got a kook in my yard. Then I thought, I better be careful, because maybe it is Jesus, and I wouldn't want to hurt his feelings. And if it is Jesus, I got a lot of questions. He sat there for a few minutes, and I said, now, I seem to remember in the Bible that when you come, it's going to be in the clouds, and everyone's going to see it. He said, that's right. That's when I come for the world at large. But I'm coming specially for a few select people in advance. He had a clever answer for everything. He stayed there. He knew the Bible. He stayed there at my cave for about 2 days. And I tried to help the fellow because it became very clear to me that he wasn't Jesus. For one thing, he just sat around, ate all my food, didn't do any work, and he was a slob. And I know Jesus isn't like that. A few days later, I saw him down in town. When I hiked down to get some food, he had found a disciple. Some tall, lanky hippie was following him around and saying, this is Jesus. A few days after that, I saw him and he was missing a tooth. He got into a fight. And I know Jesus has all his teeth, so that settled it for me. But, you know, I'm not worried about, there's a lot of deranged people out there that say they're Napoleon Bonaparte and the Virgin Mary. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about when Satan really uses very charismatic individuals that pull off a Jim Jones, David Koresh thing. And what the devil's going to do in the last days will be way beyond that, friends. There will be signs and wonders and miracles. He will go so far as even bringing fire down upon the earth in the sight of men to deceive them. We're seeing a lot of imitation miracles these days, aren't we? Got a lesson coming talking about false prophets. Number 7, what will happen to the wicked people when Jesus comes?